Good morning, students. Welcome to our online class once again. Yesterday, we had seen about the football match and how Jim writing to Mrs. Connie, and he is very happy. That is the happiest moment of life. He told like that. So today we will continue. Dearest Connie, by Christmas time next year, this war will be nothing but a distant and terrible memory. He is telling that next year Christmas, after 1 year, this World War One which is going on, will be nothing but a distant. Distant means far away, and terrible because such memories are very dreadful, very dangerous. We can say very tragic. So terrible memory. I know from all that happened today how much both armies long for peace. Seeing how they played the football match, how they exchanged drink and cake and everything, they were very happy. So, though they are soldiers, their duty is to fight, but they long for peace, they wait for peace, they want peace. We shall be together again soon. I am sure of it. And he, at the end of the letter, he says that hope that he will meet her, and he is sure of it. Your loving Jim. So that is the end of the letter. Now let us see the comprehension check. Who had written the letter, to whom, and when? You have to attempt these question answers in your notebook, and whatever hard words are there, whichever you don't know, spellings, pronunciation, you should practice at home. Write down the hard words and meanings which are coming in the lesson, uh, except those which are given in the lesson. Many words I am explaining, so you can write it down to improve your English. Second question is, why was the letter written? What was the wonderful thing that had happened? Third question, what jobs did Hans Wolf and Jim McPherson have when they were not soldiers? Fourth question, had Hans Wolf ever been to Dorset? Why did he say he knew it? The last question is, do you think Jim McPherson came back from the war? How do you know this? Now we'll come to the third part. I folded the letter again. So this is just like a flashback, we can say, or he is reading the letter and everything and then keeping it again and slipped it carefully back into its envelope. These things what we read were in the letter. So he carefully keeps it again, that letter, in the envelope as if nobody had opened it. I kept awake all night. He stays awake. उसको नींद नहीं आती है, सारी रात जागता है. By morning I knew what I had to do. In the morning he knew, उसे क्या करना है उसे पता है. I drove into Bridport. Now he thinks that he has to make this letter reach to the owner, that is Coney. I drove into Bridport, so he is driving to Bridport, just a few miles away. A few miles away. Miles, it is more than a kilometer, almost 1300 meters. I asked a boy walking his dog where Copper beaches was. So a boy who is taking his dog on a walk, he asks him where Copper Beaches was. House number 12 turned out to be nothing but a burned out shell. That boy gives him the address, and when he reaches there, he sees that house number 12 where Connie lived, or where the address was mentioned in the letter on the envelope, that was nothing but a burned out shell. Burned out shell. Here it is destroyed by fire, we can say. Shell, it is an outer covering, so it is just a structure. A house is there but it is burned. Shell, it is a hard outer covering of anything, just like पिस्ता, वी ईट पिस्ता, देर इज़ अ शेल. नमकीन पिस्ते जो हम खाते हैं, डोडी पिस्ता होता है, उसके ऊपर शेल होता है. देन पर्ल, मोती जो होता है, जो दरिया में से निकलता है फ्रॉम द ओशन, पर्ल्स, इट हैज़ ऑल्सो अ शेल. एंड वी कैन से टोर्टॉइज. कछुआ जो होता है उसके ऊपर एक बॉडी के ऊपर कवरिंग होती है, दैट इज ऑल्सो अ शेल. सो इट इज़ अ स्ट्रक्चर, it is a structure but not a house now. The roof gaping, the roof is broken, the windows boarded up, the windows are also boarded up, is covered with wooden boards. Maybe the glasses are broken, so temporarily to avoid sunlight or to keep the dust and wind out or to keep safe, it is covered with we can say wooden boards. So this is the condition. It is destroyed house, we can say. I knocked at the house next door and asked if anyone knew the whereabouts of a Mrs. Macpherson. Now nobody is living there. We can assume that it is a vacated house. એટલે ભૂત બંગલા જેવું થઈ ગયું છે. Of a Mrs. Macpherson. So he asked the neighbor about the whereabouts. Whereabouts means where is she now? Mrs. Macpherson. Oh yes, said the old man in his sleepers. Sleepers, he is wearing sleepers, and he says yes, he knew that. He knew her well. He knew Mrs. Macpherson. A lovely old lady. Mrs. Macpherson was very lovely and old. He told me a bit muddle headed. Muddle headed means she is a bit confused, but he told me a bit muddle headed, but at her age she was entitled to be, wasn't she? She is such a age. जो लोग बहुत बूढ़े हो जाते हैं वो थोड़े से कंफ्यूज्ड होते हैं. हम बोलते हैं कि छोटे बच्चे और बड़े उम्र के लोग एक जैसे होते हैं. जस्ट लाइक चिल्ड्रन आर कंफ्यूज, बिगर पर्सन और एजेड पर्सन्स आर ऑल्सो कंफ्यूज. तो एट हर ओल्ड एज शी वॉज एंटाइटल्ड टू बी मीन्स ऐसा होने ही वाला था. wasn't she means wasn't she confused? 101 years old. She is 101 years old. She had been in the house when it caught fire. She was there in the house when it caught fire. No one really knew how the fire had started. We sometimes know the cause of the fire, sometimes we don't know the cause of the fire. So she didn't knew how the fire started, but it could well have been candles. Maybe burning of candles, or when the candles were lighted it might have fallen down and the house caught fire. She used candles rather than electricity. Now for the light in the house at night she is using candles in spite of electricity power, because she always thought electricity was too expensive, very expensive. She cannot afford the power supply or pay the bill of electricity. Many students they speak this word electricity like that, but it is not electricity, it is electricity. So please correct your pronunciation if you are speaking like electricity. It is not electricity, electricity, because she always thought electricity was too expensive, she cannot afford. The fireman had got her just out in time. She was taken out of the house just in time. The fireman, fire brigade, those who extinguished the fire. She was in a nursing home now, and she is getting treatment in a nursing home, he told me. Burlington House, where she is getting treatment on the Dorchester Road on the other side of town. She has been taken there for treatment and she is being nursed over there. Burlington House on the Dorchester Road on the other side of the town. Comprehension check. First question now. Why did the author go to Bridport? Now you know the answer as you already read this part. Second question is, how old was Mrs. Macpherson now? Where was she? Both the answers you know as you have read the above part. We will continue with the last part, we can say. I found Burlington House nursing home easily enough, as it is a famous we can say establishment, it is a nursing home, he found out very easily. There were paper chains up in the hallway, and a lighted Christmas tree stood in the corner with a lopsided angel on top. It is Christmas time, so paper chains, you know, decorative paper chains are there during birthday. We stick in our house, on the roof, on the walls, paper chains you see are there. So that is decorated, the nursing home is decorated in the hallway, and a lighted Christmas tree stood in the corner. Christmas tree is decorated and lighted, and it is in the corner with a lopsided means unbalanced, means one sided, we can say. On top there is an angel means farishto, we can say angel photo is there, or we can say some kind of angel is standing lopsided on the top. I said I was a friend I was a friend come to visit Mrs. Macpherson to bring her a Christmas present. He introduces himself as a friend who wants to gift as a Christmas present to Mrs. Macpherson. I could see through into the dining room where everyone was wearing a paper hat and singing. All are enjoying, as it is Christmas, wearing paper hat and singing carols maybe. The matron, who is a matron? We say the matron is just like a warden in a hostel, a woman in charge of hospital or domestic affairs, just like that. Hat on too, and seemed happy enough to see me. She also was wearing a hat and was happy to see him, that somebody has come to meet such a old person. She even offered me a mince pie. Mince pie means it is just like a cake, baked thing. It is a layer cake with meat pieces, that is known as mince pie. She walked me along the corridor. They both go together along the corridor, the passage. Mrs. Macpherson is not in with the others. She was not there, she was somewhere else. So she is taking him to her. She told me she is rather confused today, so we thought it best if she had a good rest. She tells him that she is very much confused, she needed rest, so she was away. She was not enjoying with the others. She has no family, you know, and informs that she doesn't have anybody, any relative there. She is the only one. No one visits, so I am sure she'll be only too pleased to see you. Nobody is coming to visit her, so she will be very happy when this person comes to her or visits her. She took me into a conservatory with wicker chairs and potted plants all around and left me. She takes him into a conservatory. It is a greenhouse, just like garden, we can say, plants growing in a dwelling place with wicker chair made of bamboos or straws, we can say, and potted plants were there all around. And she leaves alone, the author, to her. Now he is there with that Mrs. Macpherson. The old lady was sitting in a wheelchair. You will see the figure, that how she is sitting. The description of this, what we are going to read, is given in the picture in the textbook also, and you will be able to see in this presentation also. The old lady was sitting in a wheelchair, her hands folded in her lap. The hands are folded, bandela che hath. She had silver white hair pinned into a wispy bun, and her white hair, grey hair, we can say, a silver color because she is very old, and the hair are pinned into a wispy bun. पाँव खाते हैं जैसे हम बन बोलते हैं जिसको, વિસ્પી બન. વિસ્પી મીન્સ થિન એન્ડ વીક, જૂડો બાંધ્યો છે અને વાળ પિન કરેલા છે જૂડામાં. She was gazing out at the garden. She was looking towards the garden, looking at the plants and feeling a little relaxed. Hello, I said. He introduces himself and starts the conversation and says hello. She turned and looked up at me vacantly. Vacantly means blankly. अचानक कोई उसे आवाज़ देता है, कभी किसी ने उसको बुलाया नहीं होगा ऐसे, तो कोई इससे मिलने आया है, तो वेकेंटली अचानक वो दिखने लगती है उसको ब्लैंकली. हैप्पी क्रिसमस. हैप्पी क्रिसमस. Connie, I went on. He wishes her happy Christmas and went on. Went on means he started talking further. I found this. The author is telling her that he found that. I think it is yours and this belongs to you, he is telling her. As I was speaking, her eyes never left my face. When he is speaking to her, she is staring at him, glancing at him. She is never leaving his face. Means एक टस नज़र से उसको देख रही है, घूर के देखना जैसे हम लोग बोलते हैं. I opened the tin box and gave it to her. He opened the tin box and gave it to her. That was the moment her eyes lit up with recognition and her face became suffused with a sudden glow of happiness. When he gives her the tin box, the envelope, she means becomes happy, we can say. Suffused means she is happy with a sudden glow of happiness. Her face lights up and happiness is there on her face, that is expressed. And he explains, I explained about the desk. He tells her the story or narrates the story how we got that from the roll top desk, about how I had found it, how he had found that tin box and letter, and he narrates everything. But I don't think she was listening. But he sees that she is not paying attention to him what he is saying. For a while she said nothing but stroked the letter tenderly with her fingertips. Stroke means patted the letter, जो वहाल करे छे, प्यार करती है जैसे धीरे धीरे हाथों से उसको सहलाती है. द लेटर टेंडरली, सॉफ्टली विथ हर फिंगर टिप्स. तो हाथों उंगलियों से वो उसके ऊपर उंगलियां घुमा रही है प्यार से. सडनली शी रीच्ड आउट एंड टुक माई हैंड. She reached out means she bends forward and took the author's hand. Her eyes were filled with tears. There is excitement, happiness, and her eyes are filled with tears. हर्षना आंसू, खुशी ना आंसू, आपने कहिए खुशी के आंसू उसकी आंखों में आ जाते हैं. You told me you would come home by Christmas, dearest, she said. Now she is making him remember that you had told me that you will come on Christmas, and here you are, and you have come now. So she is assuming that that is Mr. Macpherson, the best Christmas present in the world, and you have come now alive from the war. That is the best Christmas present for me. Come closer, Jim dear, sit down. So she thinks that Jim has come back and she tells him to come closer and sit near her. I sat down beside her. Beside, it is a preposition. Near her, he sat down near her and she kissed my cheek. As you know, in foreign countries there is a tradition to kiss the cheek. She kisses his cheek. I read your letter so often, Jim, every day. She tells him that she often read his letter and every day. I wanted to hear your voice in my head. That was reading. She wanted to actually listen to him. So she tells her that she wanted to hear his voice in her head. It always made me feel you were with me. Memories are there. With the memories, you were also there with me. That was the feeling that when she was reading, she thought he was present there. And now you are. And now he has originally, physically come there, really come there. Now you are back. You can read it to me yourself. Till now he was not there, so she used to read the letter. Now when you have come back, you read it for me. You read yourself your letter to me, she says like that. Would you do that for me, Jim dear? Would he do that or oblige her by reading the letter for her? She asks him. I just want to hear your voice again. She wanted to see that he is that person, so she wanted to recognize him by his voice. I would love that so much. She tells that if he tells him or tells her or reads the letter, she will be very happy. And then perhaps we will have some tea. After reading the letter, they will have some tea. I have made you a nice Christmas cake, marzipan, all around. And the cake, we know when the football match was going on, before the football match, they had exchanged cake, marzipan with the marzipan topping. So she tells that she has made similar cake which he liked very much, that Christmas cake with marzipan all around. I know how much you love marzipan. And she tells him that he used to love cake. Everybody loves cake with the toppings. So she makes him remember that he loved such type of cake. That is the end of the lesson. And now we will see the questions. Who did Connie MacPherson think her visitor was? What is Connie thinking? Who has visited her? Which sentence in the text shows that the visitor did not try to hide his identity? You have to identify the sentence from this last part that says that he is not actually Jim. Now, working with the text, 7 questions are there. For how long do you think Connie had kept Jim's letter? Give reasons for your answer. Question number 2. Why do you think the desk had been sold and when? Third question. Why do Jim and Hans think that games or sports are good ways of resolving conflicts? Do you agree? Very important question. Do you think the soldiers of the two armies are like each other or different from each other? Find evidence from the story to support your answer. You should write it down in your own words as far as possible. Mention the various ways in which the British and the German soldiers become friends and find things in common at Christmas. This is also important question. What is Connie's Christmas present? Why is it the best Christmas present in the world? This may be also an important question. Last question. Do you think the title of this story is suitable for it? And can you think of any other title or titles? So this helps develops your writing skills. You may attempt these questions and please do your homework. I hope you have understood the lesson. Next time we will go further in the textbook, the poem and the next lesson. Have a nice day. Take care. Do the homework. Understand properly. If any questions, you can contact me.